Yeah. I can already hear the comment section loud and clear. I get it. I'm a Game Freak bootlicker, a shill, and all of those great adjectives. Look, just hear me out first before jumping the gun, would ya? Plus we have a sweet giveaway, so maybe hearing about that at the end of the video will soften the blow, huh? Okay. So as the title of the video implies, I'm not all doom and gloom on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and feel that at this point in time, you shouldn't be upset with the games based on what we've seen and heard from previews. But yeah, it does seem that people are starting to feel like these games aren't going to be good. The developers are lazy, etc, etc. You know, the annual complaints that we hear from the Pokemon community. The games are just about a week away, and I'm looking forward to them personally. But I don't represent everyone, of course. That said, I do want to speak my mind and see if you all can understand where I'm coming from on this. This isn't going to be a full-on defense of the Pokemon companies or Game Freak's business practices or how main series games are developed, but rather a full-on look at how Pokemon works as a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and how we're not really being cheated out of anything. So yeah, let's just get into it. As many of you may or may not know, Pokemon is literally the highest grossing media franchise of all time. Sure, the mainstream might not talk about the series like it did at the height of Pokemania back in the late 90s, or even 5 years ago when Pokemon Go created Pokemania 2.0, but it does still bring in those big bucks. I mean, look at Sword and Shield. The newest generation of Pokemon has currently sold 22.64 million copies in just under 2 years, and are set to become the second best-selling Pokemon games of all time, only being beaten out by the original games. I'd say that's very impressive and secures Pokemon fans brand new games for a long time. And yet, it seems with every new game, the community gets more and more hostile towards the developers. Sword and Shield sparked the largest amount of backlash I have ever seen in this community, with the cutting of the national dex, a very simple looking double kick, and a pretty ugly tree. And yet, it still sold well. So why is that? Well, it's simple really. The online community does not represent the vast majority of people playing Pokemon. That doesn't mean your voices shouldn't be heard when you're extremely disappointed by a product that you normally would be looking forward to. However, it just shows that a lot of people still want to play these games despite those flaws, and it might not even be of concern to them. I mean, come on. It's estimated that like only 10% of people actually finish games all the way through. So it shouldn't be a surprise that developers want to spend more time creating compelling gameplay compared to working on features that most of their audience would never miss having in. I went a bit more in depth about some of this stuff in another video back in 2019 where I talk about game development as a whole from the perspective of actual game developers. So if you'd like insight on that matter, be sure to check it out. You might be asking, what's the point of me saying all this? I believe it's really me just trying to put things into perspective of what I think the Pokemon community's main problem is. We're kind of spoiled. Yeah, I said it, and I don't regret it. There aren't many franchises out there that get the amount of new products in the way Pokemon does. We practically get a brand new game every year. I mean, really think about that. If you're a 3D Mario fan, you're getting a new game every 4 years on average, which isn't so bad. But Metroid or Pikmin? Yeah, those people are pretty much just crying themselves to sleep most of the time. Well, they were until just recently, but the point still stands. Pokemon fans eat well, and when we get games as often as we do, how can we possibly think we'll still be getting all 890 in every new game going forward? Plus the graphics are everything we want, plus the story being really good, and so on. It's not feasible, even if permanent staff numbers and budget did increase. The only way to make something like that work is if they brought in other studios to work on some games. Oh, they are doing that. So we have a step in the right direction, but now that leads us to these remakes not being how people wanted it. So we're at the damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. That's not saying you need to like what they do, but this brings me back to the whole spoiled aspect of things. Not everything is catered towards you or I. I have seen countless comments about how no one wanted this ugly chibi art style, or how this isn't the game we wanted. And I was kind of like that in the beginning too, but I kind of changed my mind about it. But has anyone asked the question if this is the game they wanted to make? Game Freak never really wanted to be a giant company. They just wanted to make their games, and one of those just happened to turn into a global phenomenon. Maybe that stance will change in the future, but at the moment, it seems that they'd like to keep their scale of things smaller, and I think that's okay. I also think it's okay to wish for their growth. But when your games continue to sell well for 25 years, they get positive reviews from the vast majority of people and reviewers, and if they're the games they truly want to make, all of the complaints about these developers being lazy really just starts to sound like entitlement. Big disclaimer, I think there are quite a few valid criticisms voiced. EXP share should be able to be turned off, and should probably be adjusted so it doesn't give your whole team massive amounts of EXP, ending with you being completely overleveled. But if the cosmetics were something that were make or break for the series, sales would have been stunted a long time ago. Also, I felt it was important to mention the recently announced 3GB day 1 patch for the game. I have mixed emotions on that because while I understand the pandemic played a big role in messing up development for all video game companies, having communication features, post-game content, the title screen, and the ending cutscene all just missing is not great. I certainly hope this is more of a one-off situation and doesn't become commonplace, because I think all video game fans in general can agree that we'd rather wait an extra month or so to have a more complete game at launch. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, graphics. That said, while the newer games aren't the prettiest right now, I do think the Pokémon Company and Game Freak are listening, and truly are trying their best to catch up with everyone. Might be a slow process, but no one can say they aren't trying. Legends Arceus is going to be a big departure from this series' norm, and even BDSP isn't your average remake. Visually, they clearly went the Link's Awakening route, and all around tried their best to keep it faithful to the originals in the ways that made sense. No more HMs, and updated typings were great updates. But aside from that, there doesn't seem to be much else. And this is really the biggest point of all in this video. People expected more, probably aren't getting that, and are now upset. But why? Straight from the beginning, they've said these are very faithful remakes. I don't remember that ever being said about the likes of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or even Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Every step of the way, they've told us what these games were, and people seemed fine with that initially, chibi aesthetic aside. Sure, the Hidden Grottos, the newly announced Ramos Park, and a few other things added in aren't exactly in the faithful territory, but those are really more additions compared to something like the Delta episode in Oras, or the inclusion of Megas and Master Trainers in Let's Go. But yeah, while a more expansive take on the Sinnoh we grew up with would have been wonderful, they've been pretty honest with us about what they were giving us. Love it or hate it. And that's really been the case ever since Pokemon has really started doing online promotions, specifically with X and Y. As they showcase their games over the months leading up to their releases, they always tell you what the games are. If you don't like it, then that's 100% fine. But they've been telling us what games are leading up to their release. And if you're not impressed, but reserving judgment because you think there's going to be some gigantic surprise that makes this closer to something more like Oras or Let's Go, then you're the one setting yourself up for disappointment there. If there's a major selling point to a game, the company will advertise it to some degree. Doesn't mean they'll entirely spoil it, although that does happen sometimes. But yeah, if there's something in their game that they know will make the player base happy and will definitely move units, they will let you know that they have that. I say this as someone that very much wanted an Oras-style remake. My editors feel the same exact way. We would have much preferred a game that was built like Sword and Shield, maybe some open world elements, new forms, and just generally felt like a brand new take on the region. But clearly they wanted to go that route with Legends Arceus instead, and I think that's fine. It's not everything I wanted, but that doesn't mean that it won't be good and shouldn't exist. Ultimately speaking, I think people really need to temper their expectations. When we all create these fantastical scenarios in our head, and reality doesn't live up to them, it just really bums us all out, maybe even making some of us bitter and angry. But man, it would be so much better to put that energy into something more productive. I think voicing our opinions on the direction we want the series to go does have some effect, and we'll just have to see how everything turns out. Whether it be what we get with BDSP next week, Legends Arceus in January, or even Gen 9 whenever that comes out. But it should always be done respectfully and in good faith. We all can falter a bit at times, but I think that goal isn't unachievable. And at the end of the day, if they don't make the product you want, don't buy it. Even if you love the series and want to hope it gets better, be it objectively or subjectively, the only real way to make progress is to be respectful, voice your concerns, and vote with your wallet. I know on my end, I'm looking forward to BDSP, and I think it'll be a fun visit back to Sinnoh. And if the games stink, I'll be the first one to say so. So with that said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all get where I'm coming from with everything I've said here. And I'm definitely interested in hearing all your thoughts on this, whether you agree with me or not. But you know what I think we can all agree upon? Getting free merchandise being a pretty cool thing. Yes, all of this built up to my giveaway in celebration of BDSP's release. I'll be giving away 2 Nintendo Switch OLEDs as well as a copy of the winner's choice of Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl. All you have to do is write down in the comments below what your favorite moment has been as a Pokemon fan over the last 25 years. It can be anything, from awesome moments in the Pokemon anime, your very first shiny encounter, or even the time you've spent watching Mystic Umbreon videos over the years. Note that comments like first and where is the best team for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl won't count towards this contest. Also, please be sure to write only 1 comment if you're entering, as I will be checking for that and you will be disqualified if you try to gain extra entries. Let's keep this fun and fair for everyone. I'll be announcing the winner a few weeks from now on stream, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. Well, that's going to do it for me for now, everyone, so I will see you all later. Hey, welcome to my new outro. A big thank you to everyone for watching the video. I want to give a huge thanks to my phenomenal team, and for the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If y'all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too. It really helps us out. I have a brand new TikTok for Mystic Umbreon, and I've got a goal to get 10k followers over there. If we can hit that goal, I'm going to pick a random video suggested to me by you guys and do it. So go over there and leave a follow. Also over on MysticSage, we've still got 2 videos going up every weekend. We've got content from My Hero, to Demon Slayer, to Dragon Ball. So come and check it out. And also check out MysticSage on TikTok. Finally, I've got an Amazon store where I sell tons of cool stuff. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon, and I'll see you next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.